Hello and welcome to Space Engineers. I am Space Engineer Rever, and we have the sun going down on us to start it, which is no good, but hopefully we can do a little bit of an introduction before it gets too dark for you guys to be able to see on YouTube. It's not too bad. We have a light. We'll try to struggle through the dark times, but let me introduce this game if you guys have never seen it. And this really will be like more of a beginner's guide slash introduction to the game. I'll try to cover the real basics. I'm trying to keep things kind of easy and simple. I've done more challenging things, but it's been a while since I played, and I like to relax with my games and just sort of have some fun. So if you've never played Space Engineers, this definitely might be the series for you. And who knows, if you just like the sound of my voice, maybe you could listen anyway. Anyway, I'm going to turn my HUD back on, which is our tool controls and whatnot. And we have spawned here on an Earth-like planet. And the idea of this game is to build big bad spaceships, go into space, mine things. You kind of do whatever you want, really. There's no food. It's a lot like Minecraft for space, in a sense, where we can dig up the Earth here and we can, build things like this spaceship. Hopefully we'll build something far more. This is just like a pod that you crash landing pod that gives you the ability to get started. So if we come up to it, we can come to the side here. If you notice, my power is down. If I hit F, this thing will charge up the power. Now this is not, as far as I know, like an actual good working spaceship, but we could come into the seat and sit in the seat, right? And then this is how you would control a craft. Now, we're not going to do that, even if it could be flown, which I don't. I see it has engines on it, but I'm not sure. We're just going to use this as like a base because it has this survival kit on it. And it also has like a hydrogen generator thing that will get us some hydrogen so we can hover. We have a jetpack that we can float around. Some people end up even turning that jetpack feature off when you're on planets, feeling like it's a little bit cheaty, and it is. But it's kind of hard to construct some things without being able to hover at times. So we're going to leave it on. Like I said, we're not trying to make this hard. The only setting that, just so you know, if you were to go in and start this game, I went to Solar System Start, and then I picked the Earth Pod one. The only other thing is I did expand my inventory. So if I come in, let's hit F, and we can see my inventory. This is the inventory of the survival kit. If we click on this, we can see the other things that are in this little craft, right? You could switch these windows around, if you wanted to transfer stuff from one thing to another, you can try to do it like this. See, now we can't put the ice in the survival kit directly because there's not conveyors hooked up, but this is the O2 generator. This is the passenger seat, which has got a gun. I'm not too worried about that. Let's go back to my inventory. I want to keep my inventory pretty clear with these three tools on there. We get a grinder, we get a hand drill, and we get a welder, and that's pretty much everything you need. You can upgrade them later on. But what we need to do to get started with this is, if we come in here, there's a production tab on this thing, and each of the production machines has different tiers, and this is like kind of almost like tier 0 in a sense. But what we can do is we can make ingots if we process some stone. Now we can also, with this, we'll get iron, and we'll get nickel, which we'll need for some things, and we'll get silicon, which we need for other things. So just with this, now I'm going to just go in here and queue up before we even try to build anything else, which we can't build anything until we get some stone. But that way, this is, for at least a long time, is the only thing in the production queue. Whenever I put that in there, it'll try to make this first, this stone. Now, I would say this is a really lucky start. If you look here, we have iron 17 meters below us, and we have cobalt 53 meters over in this direction. And those are the two things you really need to do to get cobalt. You need for the next tier. So really, to get more iron and more stone, we can start building what I would call tier 1. But then to get to tier 2 stuff, we're going to need that cobalt. Now there's other materials like silver, I think, get you to tier 3 stuff, and magnesium is tier 4. But before we can get to that stuff, we're either going to have to build a rover or a little mining ship that we can fly around and go gather up these ores much more quickly. The problem is if you try to run around, it's a pretty big world. You know, if we take a look, if I hit V, we can come to third person view. And then if I hit Alt, I can scroll out, right? And you can see it's a pretty big world. Like if you want to go looking for things, you could go quite a while before if you just try to run around and go look for stuff, it'll take you forever. And the fact that we're up on this hill with all these, like, I mean, this would be a hard place to get a rover going, right? I mean, it's a nice place in a way, kind of a little weird with the brown and the green, but at the same time, you know, you could see, you know, it would just be hard to take a car off of this kind of mountain that we're on. So we may end up, you know, and who knows where those other materials may be. I'm going to hit V again and jump back to first person view. But like I said, we're lucky as sin because we've got this, you know, and we've got these nodes here. Now, just so you know, if you go back to that V mode, like see these discolorations, they're dark on the green, on the dark green, and they're lighter colored up here. These discolorations are where there's ores. So you fly around and you look for those, and then when you get closer to them, it'll tell you what's there. So I would like to find a good place that's relatively close to this that we can start going down and mining and get to some of the cobalt and stuff. See, so we're 53 meters from cobalt here, and there's a lot of iron in the area. So what I think I'm going to do is just see, I usually don't start these things downhill. I'm going to hit C to crouch, then I'm going to hit 3 to get my mining tool out, and I'm going to push it to the ground, right, and just get a little thing going. Yeah, well, there goes some stone. Right, and I'm just going to start working my way towards that cobalt. And then I'm going to hit the F key and just kind of hold that in and pick up all this stuff. Right, and we'll just keep like pushing towards that cobalt. Which seems like it's at a pretty good angle. You know, we're going to struggle to get below the earth here a little bit. But that's okay. We're still picking up, you know, stuff. Once we get down below, we'll... We're really, you know, see, we're making a pretty good slope. Now, you want to make sure you can get in and out of this hole, right? So you can see, but because we're going downhill, we're just sort of fighting the whole thing. And then our inventory is going up here. If you see that little blue bar above the hotkeys, let me just, for the sake of, stop crouching. If you crouch, you run real slow. So I'm going to just throw this stone in there so you guys can see what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to start digging a tunnel down towards that cobalt, because we know we'll need it, but we're not going to be able to process anything with this stone with this thing. So I'm going to have to come back and build some more things. Now, I also have a light if I hit L, and I can turn that on. And as I get down in here, and it gets dark in the tunnels, which makes sense, right? Go back to crouching, and just kind of keep, you know, working my way down towards that cobalt. I might even hit iron on the way. There's so much of it in this area. That's it, right? And then when I come back, like normally, because I don't have this stuff right here, I will, like, you know, just dig up some stone. But now I might as well make a tunnel down towards the stuff that we need and go from there. Right, so let me mine up a bunch of stone and throw it in that thing until I'm going to pretty much fill it up. And then we'll see. I'll come back. All right, talk to you guys in a minute. All right, hopefully you guys can see well enough, but I built a little platform with I guess a tower, you might call that, and we want to start getting the ability to process some iron ore because I ran into it, and it's starting to jam up my inventory. I don't just want to throw it away, and I want to see if I can get it going. So the first thing we're going to need is this turbine, but I want to put on my jetpack and scoot up there and try to place this guy right there, and then we'll zoom in closer. We'll use our welding tool, and we don't have 24 girders. Okay, we can work on that. So let's fly down back to this thing. And we didn't schedule those, did we? Yep, we did. We just didn't get them. Alright, so I can hit X again and we'll fly back up real quick. And there we go. So now we have, let's see, and we'll go back down. Spacebar, by the way, takes you up. And then there we go, X. So here we are. So now we have a source of power, not much of one, but you know, it's steady. It should be pretty good. And anytime that you're attached with a source of power to these steel grids, it's like they have wiring in them, right? So what we want to do now is we want to build this assembler machine. I think I'll build it over here, but then I want to spin it around so that there's an output. This, I don't know how well you can see that image in the dark and all, but there's like a door on it. And let me come over here. We have another one. We have this refinery. If I, oops, it's not backwards. If I step back a little bit, you might be able to see it better, like there. So now there's a door on this one. See, the door's facing me, and there's two of them. So what I'll do is I'll put the other door right here. And then what I'm picturing is like this, I don't know if this will be a wall or not, but I'm just sort of picturing we'll build an area probably out this way, because it's a little bit of a pain to dig into the dirt. But we can talk about that plan later. We come back to our thing, and really the refinery is the one that I want to get working. Let's see if we have, I need 29 more steel plates. Now there's a line on this thing, I'm not sure again how well you guys can see on YouTube, but you don't need all of the parts and pieces. Some of them are like reinforcements so that if they take damage, they'll still work. Hopefully we won't be taking too much damage, but if you look, looks like we're completely out of steel. Let's look at our production. Yeah, we're waiting on some more steel plates. And yeah, we don't have any. They would be right in here. So I'm going to put this other stuff back. See, and the problem is right now I can't put this iron in here, right? Like, and until I get those other plates, so I need to run down and get a little more stone. Let's go do that together. And I'll probably, you know what? I think I have some stone. Yeah, see, you gotta really be careful when you're digging these things out. Or else you get stuck. See how I'm kind of getting stuck a little bit, like there? Right, because it's just real finicky. And really the thing to do is to actually build ramps. So let's see. We'll see if that stone's enough to get us. How many do we have ordered? Yeah, we only have 7 ordered, and we said we needed 29. So let me just order like 30, and then that way, and then we'll run back and forth a couple times. Let's get 3. So what I was doing is trying to dig down towards this.
Inventory full.
Dig down towards, yeah, see, I'm going to keep hitting that. And it's just a real pain to get it. Yeah, well, that seemed to maybe fix it. It's just a real pain, but there are these, let me show you in a second. Let me put this stone in there first. Just taking a look, see what we have. Yeah, we have, I'm not sure why it's not making the iron plates right this second, but it's just working on the stone. Alright, so anyway, if we come in here and I hit 4, right, I can use my mouse and I can get these blocks here. See, so if you want to, you could build a ramp down and you can run up and down that nice and smoothly. But at this point, I don't really want to waste the steel. It's not a waste, but I'd rather accomplish that in other ways. Let's go down and keep grabbing some more of this. And this is the name of the game here for a little bit. Now in the future we'll have ships and all kinds of stuff. But you can see I ran into this iron. I don't really want to waste.
Inventory full.
Okay. Oh, come on. Sometimes if you go side to side you get past those places. So this is only just real early game that you have to do too much of this mining. I mean you can do it by hand as time goes on, but yeah, why are we not? I guess we're just steady processing this. Oh, okay, we're making these. We also needed to make these computers. We need a lot of computers for the other thing. Now, let me see. Can I shift? Nah. I can just cancel making the computers and then... So what it's doing now is it's turning all that gravel. So it actually, you know, it's turning all that gravel into the iron that we need. And then we can go get this thing made, and then we can put the iron. Now, the other thing we could do. Let me go. I was hoping to be able to avoid this whole situation, but if you look, I put a bunch of iron in the seat there. You know what? That might have been a mistake, because now my inventory is totally full, huh? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now I don't want to put any more than we absolutely need, which was 29, I think, right? I did that backwards. It's how many do you want to take out of the pile? So 29, right? And then we should be able to come over here, hit 1. And this this refinery should be good to go, I think. So anything above that line over there is, you don't need it for the thing to function. So the good news is I come in here, and I was kind of waiting, I was going to wait until daytime, but now you see we can take this iron, and it holds more, and then you see this assembler's not completed yet, but because they're attached, we can just drag the stuff right down there. We can also start putting stone in here. And then the advantage to doing that right away is also that, like, we're now not using the battery power from that pod. So as far as I know, there's no real easy way to get more. I mean, you could build onto the pod, but there's no way to just refill this battery on this thing. If we come over here and take a look, it's down to 3/4 or, you know, some level lower. We can actually come in here. If we go to control panel, this is all the parts that are attached to this grid, right? Grid blocks. And if we click on the battery, it'll show us that we have stored power 873 out of 1 megawatt or hour. So in other words, we've got 87%. So we're not in bad shape. There's no, you know, we're going to be able to get her done, but at the same time, we just didn't want to have that be a problem. So now, from now on, when we process stuff, I can come down into this hole and keep digging towards that cobalt. Now, we need a lot of stone to keep going because it gives us nickel to build the next thing. So it's you know, great that we hit the iron. I mean, that's definitely something we need and want in the future. But at the same time, it's, you know, we need to get we need to get stone too for the nickel. If we had nickel close by, then that wouldn't be a particular problem. We just go mine up some nickel. But I need to cut through this iron, and it looks like we're at the top of it for now. So what I've been doing is I come in here, like just straight down the hole as best I can, so that it ends up being a straight run. Come down to here, and then I crouch, right? Crouch down, and then I've just been pointing right at that cobalt symbol there. And then I hold F down, and I pick up whatever I'm mining. And again, as much as anything, a lot of times I would sit there and mine a bunch of stone out. There you go. So we filled it up, and then I hit C, and then I run back up. Sometimes I mine a little bit extra. Yeah, I made it. I tried to make it smoother, and I kind of made it worse. But now we got to run all the way over to here with the iron, which is okay. I mean, it's not ideal, but I wanted to put this. Let me describe something else. I wanted to put this over here too, so that we could build the base. I think I said I didn't want to dig out too much of this dirt, but this looks like a good place to build out to and have like a landing pad for our mining ship. So all of this working is going to be towards getting, you know, like a mining ship to make things easier. Then once we do that, we can really start getting a fair amount more minerals off the earth here, and we can go find those we can fly around off of this mountaintop that we're on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing here. I'll grab some stuff out of this. Right, for now, we'll just take it back over there because we can't assemble things in that other thing. And we're going to come here, and we're going to put this stuff back in here, right? And then it'll keep our production going. And we'll need to get the other things that we need for this one, which is what? I might just order them up if we don't have them already. Motors, construction components, steel, and some displays. So we'll see how much of that stuff we have. So I'll complete building this, and then I'm just going to expand out this pad a little bit. Probably put up another turbine. Then hopefully, eventually, it'll be daylight again, and we'll come out and lay out like a better... I'd like to try to get right to the better refining, and plus we need a little bit more storage as well. So we're probably going to, lay out a little bit of a pattern for getting a bigger refinery and the next tier, and that's all needed to do the other metals. And we can reuse a lot of these parts, and then I also want to get a battery over here, and that will just help when I'm not running it. It stores up some power. You have to be careful about leaving your base with no power, so having a full charged battery is a good way to kind of ensure that you're not going to have problems. All right, well, let me run back and forth mining a bit. Hopefully we'll hit the cobalt, which will be good for... We'll need that to make some of the storage containers and these the next tier up, the better refineries. But the fact that it's right here is we're going to be able to skip the whole rover part. We're going to be able to go right towards building a ship that can fly around. So it's going to be a little while in real life, probably, I bet you 20 minutes or a half an hour of me running back and forth. Maybe not quite that long, but we'll see. I'm going to get at it. See you in a minute. We have wind power. So we've got 4 wind turbines, and I built a room. Now what this room is 10 by 10s. Just so you know, if you build these turbines, they should be at least 8 apart. So they should be 10 apart, and then I'm sorry, they're actually 11 apart, right? Then the room itself is inside of that 10 by 10. But this should give us enough room to get most of a starter base going. Now there's a couple other things I'd like to do. We'll leave these things as they are, though we're real quickly going to get up to another tier, right? Like this is like tier 1 stuff, so we're going to need, in order to be able to build a ship, we're going to need to get to at least the next tier stuff. As far as a new refinery, this is called the basic refinery, basic assembler. We need to build a real assembler and a real refinery. So, but there's one more thing I'd like to do, or 2 more things, I guess, depends on how you look at it. 2 more things. 3 more things. We are using that respawn pod, which eventually will run out of battery power. So what I would like to do is come over here, and I've got set up to build a battery, right? And I'm thinking we'll just put it outside of the room. Well, I don't want to block that. Let's put down another... Put it like right over here, kind of out of the way. It doesn't really matter where it is. I just don't want it to get in the way of anything else. It can go anywhere. All right, so if we do that, now do we have very little of the things that we need, but we'll weld them up. So we'll need, I should have much of the things being made right this minute, but I also want to lay down this survival kit. So what I want to do very shortly is go over there and cut off the survival kit there and put it into here. And I guess, I'm going to turn it. Just trying to think if there's any better way of doing this. Oh, now we used up all our steel plates on that. I guess it should have more in the works. Hopefully we have enough. Right, so I'm going to turn this way so that the door is facing this way. And then on this thing, this is an H2 generator, right? And I want to make sure there's a door facing that way. So, right, so what we should be able to do is when we get ice, we can put the ice in here, and then it will automatically fill up our hydrogen because these 2 things will be connected. So let's go lay down what we can real quick. Like I said, I think all those things are in there being built, but... Good, we got enough steel plate for this. We got some, I think I got everything else. We'll see. I always forget something. That's not true, but I feel like I always forget something. Sort of like I feel like I always get stuck at red lights. Well, I'm just going to take a lot of this stuff out of here. Let's see. So we're going to need those medical components. What's that? Oh, it wants more computers. Okay. Do we have those lined up? Yeah, after these power cells. And I just want to, before I take this out, I guess we can go over there. Well, why don't we charge ourselves up and we'll grind that thing out of there and hope for the best. Because we will get some parts and pieces. So we'll charge ourselves up. That way we at least have that much going for us. And we'll get the grinder. Oop, that's not how you do that.
Inventory full.
Of course. Alright, let's come back over here and weld up. I was thinking about that before I even hit the button, but there we go. So there's our H2 generator. Alright, and how full is our inventory? Very full. Alright, so let's put some stuff in here. You know what? Let's put some power cells. Power cells take up a lot of room for whatever reasons. I guess they're batteries, so fair enough, right? What was that? Oh, that's the gravel that was in that thing. So we put that gravel in here, I guess. Right, now can we finish this off? No, we need a few more computers, which we're making. Oh. These in the battery. Now again, you don't have to have this stuff up fully. There we go. Get some more computers. We're gonna need a few more for that battery. There we go. So now this thing should act just like the one on the ship there, where we can charge ourselves up. And then once we get the ice out of the ship, we can put it in here, and then it should provide us with hydrogen. And then hopefully, you know, we will find some ice one day, right? So let's come over to this thing and see. Not enough construction components to fully complete it, but like I said, right now it's working. I like to complete the things, even though probably don't need to. Let's just make 50 more of these. We're starting to get to that point where certain things you know you're going to need. And I know we're going to need a bunch more of those in the near future. So you can see we got a good amount of iron as far as our inventory goes. You know, 11K iron here. We got this cobalt, which we're still making more. That should, I think we'll have enough cobalt. Nickel is going to be our problem. We only have 86 nickel. And that will definitely be, you know, and the only way, well, we could go find another nickel mine, but right now, the best, easiest way for us to get it is with stone, which isn't too bad because it gives us some more silicone, which we'll need a little bit of, and yeah. So anyway, we'll get to all of that stuff. And we'll come in here. I think we just needed like 5, right? I hope that's enough. Yep. So there we go. So now we have a battery. I'd like to show you how you can control some of these things. Now that we kind of have a room and whatnot, we can go up to like any one of these panels. If I click on this panel, then it sort of defaults to looking at the battery stuff as the main thing. Now there's no storage for the battery, but if we come up here right now, you can see where current input is 1.44 megawatts, and we're outputting 370, well, let's call it 350 kilowatts. So we're storing power, so this thing will be fully charged in 2 hours, which is nice because, you know, as we ramp up machines, that's a bit of an energy buffer for us. And there we go. So in the future, what we're going to do in the next episode, let's come into G, and I'm going to come to all blocks. Let's get rid of, we're not going to build a survivor kit, H2O. We're not going to build a battery again for the near future. The things that I want to build the next time are production blocks. We want to get a refinery, and then we also want to get an assembler. Those will be the two biggest things I think I want to get built because they're going to be necessary. If you look, these are like much bigger and need like many components, especially this refinery needs 1200 steel, right? But once we get those going, that'll be great. And then, you know what, there's one more thing. Well, there's going to be a lot of things, but the other thing that I would like to think about and just get on my bar as I save the game and start trying to produce the video is a large cargo container. So what we can do with this is it just stores like a whole bunch of stuff, but you can see it's rather expensive for us to build. 300 interior plates, 20 motors, so we're almost certainly going to run out. We need 24 of those metal grids, and those metal grids is what needs the cobalt. So if we come over here to production, right, and I'm just going to make 30 of them for now, but you'll see we're starting to use that cobalt. So if we didn't have that close by, and look, we just about used most of the cobalt we had up, so we may need to go down and get more. That won't be our problem. Will be that we keep running out of the not nitrogen, the, what is it? Oh, nickel. I know it began with N. So what I'd like to do, probably between the episodes, I'll just keep mining a bit and then start building like a room out here. So just sort of build up what I think is going to be enough metal to get us to build that. And we're going to build an area that we can build our spaceship. And then I want to tie it into that big conveyor. So they have something called a connector, so we can fly our ship in, land it, and then like just have it automatically suck out all the materials into that container, into that cargo container, and then it can go over to our refinery, say that we might put over here, and then those refineries and the assembler we can start making more stuff with that more automatically, right? So we'll build a space for our ship to be built like right over here, and I will mine a bunch. And let me know your comments and whatnot. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, this won't be like a huge, super long, space engineer series. If people have a lot of interest in it, we can talk about a more challenging thing. But I'd like to show you guys me getting into space, and this is a pretty easy start. For the little bit of time, like you can really make it grindy to get to the point I'm at right now. So this hasn't been too bad with the bigger inventory size, and really the fact that we have iron and cobalt right under our feet is just, it's a very lucky start. I wasn't expecting that. So, and by the way, one other thing, as I was building this, there is quite a view from from here, isn't there? So anyway, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you sometime soon, I hope. Take care. Bye.